Welcome back to Hardball. President Trump is campaigning tonight up in Pennsylvania despite the massive storm winding its way across the southeast after already hammering Florida, the panhandle down there. By the way, he said he owed it to the people who came to see him tonight. Trump had a different perspective back in 2012, not 100 years ago. In fact, several days after Hurricane Sandy battered the mid-Atlantic coast, he tweeted, "Yesterday, Obama campaigned with Jay-Z and Springsteen, while Hurricane Sandy victims across NY and NJ are still decimated by Sandy. Wrong." Well, the president opened tonight's rally by wishing those in the storm's path all the best, but then moved on to attack the Dems, or the Dims as he calls them now. Joining me again is Susan Percio, Nick Confessore, and Jason. I want to start with Jason. Again, here we are tonight, back again with the president, campaigning effectively with his base, entertaining them. He's good at that. They laugh. The laughing now is about, well, I guess it's the righteous indignation about the treatment of Brett Kavanaugh, that the skinny white guys are now life's victims. That seems to be an effective, ploy, to put it what it is.
It is. But it's only effective but so far, Chris. Like, I really think you can beat this Brett Kavanaugh thing, but so much. I mean, look, the guy won. He's on the Supreme Court. He's going to be there. There's but so much energy you can still draw from it. And I will say this. What Trump is doing right now is effective, but what he can't counter is the effectiveness of candidates on the ground. You look at what Gilliam's doing. You look at what Rick Scott is doing. That's how a campaign like that is going to be won. The president is effective at riling up his base. What he has not been able to do, which he still can't do, and we're seeing it even in the places he's campaigning, he can't expand his base. He can't make more people want to vote for candidates. He attracts people to him, but I don't know if he's sprinkling that sort of Trump fairy dust on anybody else, and that's what some of these candidates need.
Well, Jason, everybody else, after wishing those in Florida all the best, the president attacked Democrats. We've said that. We don't have the bite yet from him. Susan, I think we have it now. Let's go.
What the radical Democrats did to Brett Kavanaugh and his beautiful family is a national disgrace. It's a disgrace. What they did was a disgrace. You look at Cory Booker, the way he talked, and then you look at what he did. You look at Senator Dianne Feinstein, what she did.
What's this? The way he villainizes people. Feinstein's to me, a grown-up Democrat. He's been around a long time. Used to be mayor of San Francisco. People in California who are Republicans have always respected her, turning her into some sort of joke. Well, and this crowd's going, they don't even know Dianne Feinstein. Why are they joining in the jeering here? Why are they led along like lemmings? They don't know who Dianne Feinstein is.
No, but they know that they saw Trump the night before, 2 days before, leading a rally of lock her up about people. That's what his base.
What about leaking?
Was. Yeah,
some lawyer she had may have leaked, or somebody leaked. That's a crime now.
He's making it sound like Cory Booker and Dianne Feinstein broke into Brett Kavanaugh's house and
But I think it's actually worse than that, because I can't help it. I'm not suggesting that he did it intentionally, but the first place I go when he named Cory Booker.
He's African-American.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's exactly why he did it.
And that is exactly where he wants to go in these rallies. I mean, what is he really doing in Pennsylvania? He's costing seats for Republicans. They have enough problems.
Well, they're not going to win the governorship in Pennsylvania. They're not going to beat Bobby Casey. So what's he doing up there? He's just sort of sprinkling the dust, fairy dust, as Jason just put it. Anyway, Trump called Democrats' handling of his Supreme Court Justice nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, disgraceful. Here's that tonight in Erie.
The disgraceful leaking of documents. You look at what they did. You look at the false charges. You look at the false accusations. It was a disgrace. It was a disgrace. And people were saying, thank you, sir, for sticking, and thank you for not giving up. You know what? I never even thought of it, folks. I never even thought of it.
You know, Jason, the man is amazing at creating notions of these infractions.
Right.
There was Benghazi went on for years. What was Benghazi again? I'm sorry. Yeah, there were some people killed there. But what exactly did Hillary Clinton do wrong? They never actually said that. They just said Benghazi over and over again. You know, like waving the bloody shirt after the Civil War. They always just, all they saw was the bloody shirt. They didn't even know what they're talking about. And here we have a leak. Excuse me. Washington is built every moment on leaks. The idea that it's a crime is absurd, and yet the crowd's cheering. They're jeering. How does he get them to act like trained SEALs? How does he get his crowd to react to what he says? Whatever he says, they either cheer or jeer according to his orders.
It's like going to a high school pep rally. It doesn't matter who the team is, or if you want to be worse, you can talk about 1984 and say, we're at war with Eurasia. You hate Eurasia. We're at war with this country. It doesn't really matter. Whoever Trump says is the bad guy is going to be the bad guy. The problem that he runs into, and you've seen this with Hillary Clinton, and you've seen this with, to a certain extent, like you said, with Benghazi, we will see this with Kavanaugh, is at some point he starts to sound like the old high school quarterback who keeps talking about that game he won in 1978. It's over now. Talk about the new thing you're doing. Kavanaugh is great now. That's a hot victory story now. It's not going to matter in 2 weeks. It's not going to matter in Florida in 2 weeks. It's not going to matter in Arizona in 2 weeks. The president has to have a new song. This is going to gin up the base, but I'm telling you, there are some Republicans out there in some desperate seats. There are some Republicans in Ohio. There are some Republicans in Missouri who are like, look, I need you to bring something new. I need you to talk about these tariffs that are hurting me. I need you to talk about this tax plan, because screaming and yelling about a Supreme Court justice is not going to turn people out to vote for me against a Democrat talking about health care and keeping you in check.
Nick.
So, Chris, the emotional core of Trumpism here, and you see it right here, is being a victim, and it's self-pity. It's that the country that is winning is actually losing. The party that is in control of everything is actually on the verge of defeat. The people in America who are prosperous or relatively prosperous are actually being cheated and doing terribly. That is the framing that he excels at, and that is the framing for his whole politics.
Anyway, meanwhile, there's news tonight that the president is Attorney General, about the Attorney General. The Washington Post is reporting that President Trump talked recently with Jeff Sessions, his own chief of staff, actually, about replacing Sessions as Attorney General. According to people briefed on the conversation, the signal that the president remains keenly interested in ousting his top law enforcement official. Susan, he seems to get the biggest kick out of torching this little guy. I mean, he openly trashes him. He's now leaked the fact, probably, that he's been talking to the chief of staff of the guy he's about to fire. He talks, Lindsey Graham seems to be feathering the nest for this to all happen after the election.
And Lindsey Graham, and Jeff Sessions keeps on going. And that's the most shocking part, actually, is that he just says, say what you're going to say, do what you're going to do. But Donald Trump, the fact that he loves that story. He went to his chief of staff. He tries to undercut him, because Donald Trump is about taking down people. That's what he likes to do. That's where he gets his own strength from. Do you ever see him supporting someone, except for maybe Nikki Haley, because he's afraid of her?
Yeah.
And what she can do.
Tell me about that. Why is he afraid of Nikki Haley?
Because she's one of the most successful high-level women in his administration and is leaving and could be a potential challenge to him.
You think she will? I'm hearing no from Jason.
No.
You people know how to read people's minds. I'm not quite able to read minds yet.
Well,
you say she may run?
I think she may run. Now, it's more likely if President Trump decides not to seek re-election, which is still on the table.
She'll take on Mike Pence.
I don't think Mike Pence may be too damaged as a result of Donald Trump to.
He'll run again. Don't worry.
But she would have she would be more likely to have Donald Trump's base than Mike Pence would.
Yeah, well, Jason, you're no-knowing here.
Yeah, no. Like, Nikki Haley's not running in 2020. Donald Trump is running in 2020. And I've said before, she would not be a particularly effective candidate across the country. She has no record to run on in South Carolina. And while there are some religious conservatives who'd be happy with it, the rest of America would look at the poor education, the lack of health care, the restrictive abortion laws, her absolute failure when it came to the assassination of 9 people at Mother Emanuel Church. Nikki Haley does not have a national record to run on. And anyone who thinks because she did a nice job for 18 months in D.C. that that's going to work in Ohio and Texas and California hasn't been paying attention to what the rest of the country really wants when it comes to change.
I'm sorry, do we not say this about Donald Trump in 2015?
All right.
I didn't say that about Donald Trump in 2015.
Nikki Haley right now currently has the same constituency as Marco Rubio did. It's professional Republicans and activists and columnists and people on op-ed pages.
Exactly.
It's not meaningless, but that's where it is right now.
She's no little Marco. Anyway, Susan, Nick, and Jason are sticking with us, and up next.
Thanks for watching. To see more videos, click right here, and subscribe.